Hey, what's up, Gravity Falls fans? I know I've been out for a very long time, but please forgive me. And not only was this episode that I was working on big, but so is this video that I got for you guys. So sit tight and get ready to have your mind blown. After many years, yes, years of speculating who the true author of the journals was, we finally got our answer. And before I could go any further, I would like to mention Valskabum94 for his success at predicting the correct author of the journals. It's been a long journey to finally get to the revealing, but even after this episode, there are still so many questions to be answered. I mean, come on, just think about it. Why did they have to activate the portal just to save Stanley? How is Stanley wearing his glasses if we just previously saw in season 1 that Stan has it? Where has he been for 30 freaking years? Why does he have 6 fingers in the first place? How in the crap was he able to survive from another dimension for 30 straight years? And so on, and much more. But yes, there's a but. Before we get into all this, let me give you the codes that most of you probably already seen from other YouTubers, but I'm going to do it anyways. Now, the first clue that I found from Wikia.com's list, the very first code that I would like to discuss with you guys is a code that was actually promoted before the episode even aired. It was an audio recording by the government while Stan was locked up away inside of the interrogation room under custody. Listen to it yourself.
Ah, boy, Stan, you really did it this time. There's gotta be a way to get out of here. Huh, what's that? Something's already carved on the jail wall. JLGHRQKHUH. The last person in here must have lost their mind. I gotta get out of here!
From what we all know about Gravity Falls by now, it's full of Easter eggs and hidden gems. And from experience, those letters were not randomly selected, because it makes the code once deciphered. And once revealed, it says, Gideon is here. From my perspective, I'm not too sure myself what exactly this means, but maybe it's a foreshadowing saying that Gideon might break out of jail soon. Or he'll just still be in jail for the rest of the show. Now let's get back to the good stuff. I pretty much caught it with my eye before Wikia was updated, but I still wasn't able to crack the code. But however now, here it is. Before decoding it, it says this. But of course, that's not what you all really want to see. What you want to see is the answer. Now, to be 100% honest with you guys, I have absolutely no idea where this is going to, but from my prediction, it's probably obviously has something to do with the image that can be seen here. Once again, these pages can only be seen by going frame by frame as the pages are turning while the anomaly is going on. Since this image can mostly be seen by going frame by frame, I think that it was hidden because it's another clue. Usually when they do stuff like this, it means that something's gonna happen in the future, or it's just a sudden coincidence that they decided to put that picture out there. But knowing Gravity Falls, I don't think so. Absolutely, positively nothing is a coincidence these days. Alright, so the next couple of scenes I'm gonna actually move a bit faster because they're actually not that important. Let's do this. This one says the original mystery twins, obviously referring to Stan and his brother. By the way, this swinging scene is actually a clue that previously was foreshadowed in the episode Dreamscapers, once Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss enter Stan's mind, seeing his memories. And of course, this was one of them. This one says 30 years and now he's back, obviously referring to Stanley. The next lines to the right say, the mystery in the mystery shack. Alright, now let's move this along a little bit. Now, for the point that I've always wanted to get to, and that is filling out this chart, guys. Now, I'm pretty darn positive that Grunkle Stan's brother, also known as his twin brother Stanley, is the guy with the glasses. However, we still have absolutely no idea who the person is with the ice package. People are assuming that it's Wendy, but from this day on, we have no idea. Now let's talk about the next mystery in Gravity Falls. Stanley. As told by Grunkle Stan in this episode, he is confirmed to be the author of all 3 of the journals.
the journals. My brother.
Is this the part where one of us faints?
Oh, I am so on it, dude.
By the way, just want to point out, that is officially my favorite moment in Gravity Falls. But yeah, now that we know who the official author of the journals is, let's talk about this guy a little bit more. Like what I said in the beginning of this video, there's a lot to be asked at this moment. Sure, we know who the author of the journals is, but there's still so many questions that need to be answered. It's just unimaginably crazy. Now let's start with the very first thing that I realized when I saw this clip. How in the world is Stanley wearing his glasses? If we just saw in season 1 that Stan himself took the glasses from off the dresser and hid it somewhere around the shack so no one else could actually see it. Now, this is either a mistake that the creators made themselves, or, I dare not to say it, but there might be some more speculations that we need to go over. I have no idea where this is going, but maybe Stanley is a time traveler and he was actually able to obtain his glasses. Or I'm just going too much over this and it's just a second pair of his own glasses. And yes, it is very much possible for a person to actually have a second pair of glasses with them. And in this case, for Stanley, it's very much a good thing for him to have a second pair. I mean, what the heck? Who would have known that he would actually be sucked into a portal into another dimension? If it wasn't for those extra pair of glasses, or wherever he got them from, he probably would have quite a bit of visual problems. And by the way, one of you, or some of you out there, are probably asking yourselves, why did I just say that he was sucked into a different dimension?
I'm from another dimension!
Well, if you were watching the episode Society of the Blind Eye, there is actually an image being displayed in one of the pages as McGucket flicks through them, pretty much expressing how one day, while using the portal, when it was activated, one person was sucked inside of it. So, in conclusion, theory confirmed. Or at least for now. I'm not really sure. But otherwise, I don't really see anyone else being sucked inside the portal other than Stanley himself. It would all make too much sense actually, and explains the entire story perfectly fine. Now for the other two questions. How was he able to survive for 30 years straight? And most definitely, why does Stanley have 6 fingers in the first place? Alright, so let's take a look at the first question for a second here. How was he able to fend for himself for 30 years straight? Well, if you were to look closely as Stanley exits the portal, you can actually see something behind him on his back, as if it's some kind of military gun, or maybe a futuristic gun. We may not know because, well, nothing's been actually explained to us yet, but it looks as if it's some kind of assault rifle of some kind, possibly used to defend himself while he was away. Now, when it comes to actually having the craving for food and water, I have absolutely no idea how he was able to survive on that, because like I already said, questions still have not been answered and we still have no idea exactly which dimension he actually came from. Now, as for the last question, how does Stanley have 6 fingers in the first place? It's all just a theory, but from what I've came from after watching this episode, I can definitely determine that the toxic waste actually just might have something to do with it. And why I might say that is because, well, toxic waste, of course, is toxic. And anything is possible. Maybe it actually presented Stanley with a mutation and therefore resulting in his extra finger. Okay guys, now that we've talked about Stanley, let's talk about Stan Pines himself. Or, well, Stanford Pines to be more specific. Alright, as you guys may have realized already after watching this episode, we started to notice Stanford is not the bad guy here. So what was up with all those messages saying Stan is not what he seems? Alright, now let's skip back to the very beginning of Gravity Falls. We begin seeing this same exact message being repeated over and over again since the very first episode of Gravity Falls. Now, what exactly does this mean? Now, from my experience, and as you've all have heard of so many times, Alex Hurst is a freaking genius. He knows how to get people on the internet like me and everyone else. He knows what you're gonna think. He knows what you're gonna actually talk about when you watch this show. This guy is pretty much the original Scott Cawthon. And by the way, if you haven't heard of Scott Cawthon, he's the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. Once again, another genius. And if you guys still don't understand exactly where I'm going with this, what I'm meaning to say is that what you need to do is expect the unexpected. Let me overview some examples of how Alex Hurst pretty much screwed us over during all those seasons of Gravity Falls, when we thought we had the answer, but not quite. It's just like how when promotional trailers for the new episode, Society of the Blind Eye, we were all tricked into thinking that we were actually gonna have the author finally revealed, and how we all looked around and thought that Old Man McGucket was the one who wrote it, but he didn't. See how he twisted our minds there? We all assumed that it was going to happen just because of this trailer. And not only this trailer, but even in the beginning of the episode when Mabel and Dipper come across the fact how Old Man McGucket just might be the author. But in the end, however, we begin to find out he wasn't. And here we go with this again. Just in this episode, Alex Hurst once again pisses us off. But at the same time, he taught us a big, great lesson in life. Assuming is one bad son of a habit.